Are you good? Wow, you're an asshole today. A hot mic?
A hot mic.
Everybody's ready?
I'm not ready.
We will call to order the regular city council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Can we begin with roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers. Here. Detterman.
Here.
Seeley.
Here.
Davis. Here. Obrin.
Here.
Mussman.
Here.
Kearns.
Here. Councilmember Detterman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Approved minutes of regular city council committee of the whole and special city council meetings of December 10th, 2024, and they be approved as published on December 24th of 2024, and the minutes of the special city council meeting of December 19th, 2024, and they be approved as published on December 31st, 2024. Move that to be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers. Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Obrin.
Yes.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to have a couple or three oaths of office. Deputy Chief Blower.
Good evening, Mayor Maddasion, City Administrator Brooke, and members of the City Council. The Clinton Police Department, along with the members of the Clinton City Council, fellow officers, family, friends, and citizens, are here today to meet the newest Clinton police officers. I am pleased to announce the hiring of 3 new officers, Kelsey Stoddard, Michael Barger, and Jordan Lawrence. Kelsey Stoddard was born and raised in Clinton and graduated from Clinton High School in 2012. After graduation, Kelsey attended Clinton Community College, graduating with an associate's degree in criminal justice. Kelsey was hired with the Clinton Police Department in June of 2017 as the public service officer. After 6 successful years as the PSO, Kelsey decided she wanted to be a police officer, and she was hired in August of 2023. After graduating from the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in April of 2024, Kelsey was assigned to the Patrol Division. Officer Stoddard has been married for 5 years to her husband, Anthony. They are expecting their first child this May. In her free time, Officer Stoddard enjoys spending time with family and friends. She also enjoys camping, fishing, and going to the gym. Kelsey is here supported by her husband, Anthony, her parents, Carla Hopkins and Russ Mandrell, as well as her sister, Cassie Mandrell, who is also a police officer with our department. Michael Barger. Officer Barger was also born and raised in Clinton. Michael graduated from Clinton High School in 2014. He then attended Iowa State University and graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. After college, Michael joined the United States Army and served active duty for 3 years and was stationed in Alaska. He currently continues to serve in the Iowa National Guard. Michael moved back to the area and began his law enforcement career in Illinois, graduating from the Illinois Police Academy in 2022. Michael worked for 2 years with the Erie Police Department before being hired in August of 2024 with the Clinton Police Department. Michael is currently on D shift within the Patrol Division. He is here tonight supported by his wife Carly, his daughter Everly, and his son Michael Jr. Michael's parents are John and Lisa Barger. Jordan Lawrence. Officer Jordan Lawrence grew up in Clinton and then moved to Comanche with his parents. Jordan graduated from Comanche High School in 2021, where he excelled at football, basketball, and track. Jordan went to Grandview University and played football and track while studying kinesiology. Jordan later transferred to Cole College, where he studied business administration and played basketball. After college, Jordan wanted to stay active in his community by helping people. Jordan decided that a law enforcement career was the perfect fit. He was hired in August 2024 and graduated from the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in December 2024. Jordan is currently assigned to the C shift within the patrol division. In his free time, Jordan enjoys the time he spends with his family, friends, and his 10 nieces and nephews. Jordan is here tonight supported by his parents, Sean and Andrea Lawrence, his brother Nick, sisters Stacy and Megan, and their families, as well as his girlfriend Addie. Mayor Maddasion, will you do the honor of administering the oath of office for each of these officers? Kelsey Stoddard.
I state your name.
I, Kelsey Stoddard,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of police officer
of a police officer
in the city of Clinton, Iowa,
in the city of Clinton, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now and hereafter required by law. Thank you.
Michael Barger.
You want to do the pinning now?
Oh, we can
Or
do
you want to do them all at the same time?
we do it afterward, or we do it?
Yeah, do it now.
Yeah, we can do it now. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
This could be good.
I didn't know if you're supposed to touch the badges or not. It was like bad juju or something.
Now we clap.
Actually, you guys come up real quick. Yeah. Sure. Come up, we're gonna do a picture of y'all together.
Yeah, get up there. Yeah, well, you look good. You're all right. Keep in mind, I'll be in the background. Don't block me out, please. She does. Her hair looks nice. Thank you, thanks to Carla, that's why.
I state your name.
I, Michael Barger,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of police officer
of police officer
in the city of Clinton, Iowa,
in the city of Clinton, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
and now and hereafter.
As now or hereafter required by law.
Say that one more time.
As now or
As now or
hereafter
now after
required by law.
required by law. Please don't stab me.
It only hurt for a little bit. Thank you, now, guys. Could you just take a step backward? I'm gonna throw the flag behind you. There you go. It'll be harder to see. Up here.
Lisa. Yeah, stay up there for pictures. Get John. Come on.
Oh, it's too many people.
Real quick and then move.
Too many people. Aw.
You can use that for senior graduation yearbook.
There you go.
Look at that first.
Who has cookies? Someone has cookies here?
All right, congratulations.
Last but not least, Jordan Lawrence.
I state your name. I, Jordan Warren. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Iowa. And the Constitution of the State of Iowa. And that I will faithfully and impartially. And that I will faithfully and impartially. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. Discharge the duties. Discharge the duties. Of police officer. Of police officer. In the city of Clinton, Iowa. In the city of Clinton, Iowa. As now or hereafter required by law. As now or hereafter required by law.
Yeah. Well, the penny first, then the whole gang.
Yeah, sure. I'll go to dinner with the family, hang out.
All right. I want you to do first, one quick one, and then everybody. Perfect. Everybody else? Come up, everybody else want to come up?
Yeah, the rest of the audience will come up.
Stay up here.
Get them all up here. Get them all up here. Put your coat. Give me your coat.
Need Widelands for this one. One,
That's
two,
good to see.
3 cheeseburgers.
One more cheeseburger, hold on.
How long have I known Lawrence? Like forever.
All right.
Oh. But how to work?
Thank you. Congrats.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
as you said, we have to do one picture with all of us. Mike,
Big cheese.
Yeah.
Come on. The big cheese. Come on, Matt. Come on, Matt, you're a big shot now.
Where's Chief?
Oh, you're a big cheese now?
Tell Lorenzo to take his jacket off and stay a while. Tell Lorenzo to take his jacket off and stay a while. He still got his jacket on from outside.
What code is when you pull over a... We'll draw in two.
No.
3, 2, 1. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job.
I'd like to thank Chief McQuistion for not standing at the door with the clicker today.
Very nice.
43.
On behalf of Chief Kevin Jurian, I would be remiss if I did not thank the City Administrator, Matt Brook, the Mayor, and City Council for their continued support in our mission to keep officers on the streets and the citizens of this community safe. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Officer Kelsey Stoddard, Officer Michael Barger, and Officer Jordan Lawrence to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. All right. We now have a proclamation. Sister Jeanne?
Proclamation for Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, January 2025. Whereas the United States was founded upon the principle that all people are created with the inalienable right to freedom, and added the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, making slavery illegal. And whereas slavery within the United States today is most often found in the form of forced labor and sex trafficking, which weakens our social fabric, increases violence and organized crime, and debases our humanity. And whereas this heinous crime is found within our own community. And whereas the Iowa Network Against Human Trafficking and Slavery has been working since 2005 to abolish all forms of human trafficking through education, prevention, volunteerism, advocacy, and collaboration. And whereas, even though awareness of this crime is growing, human trafficking continues to go unreported due to its isolating nature, the misunderstanding of its definition, and lack of awareness about its indicators. And whereas increased community education on how to identify victims of human trafficking, along with increased knowledge of local resources and services for those affected by these criminal actions, can help restore freedom and dignity to identify survivors, as well as help diminish the number of future victims. And whereas every business, community organization, faith community, family, and individual can make a difference by choosing products that are not made by forced labor, by working to protect our young people from sexual exploitation, and by addressing the problem of internet sex trafficking and pornography, and by becoming more aware of the problem and possible solution.
Now therefore, I, Scott Maddasion, Mayor of the City of Clinton, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2025 as Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and encourage all our citizens to become more informed on this growing problem, to be vigilant and report suspicious activity, and to work towards solutions to end trafficking in all its forms in our community. If you see something that doesn't look right, take action and call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-78888. For more information and resources about trafficking in Iowa, go to the Network Against Human Trafficking and Slavery website, www.iownah.org. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause a seal of the City of Clinton to be affixed this 14th day of January, 2025.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we will move to public hearings. We will convene a public hearing concerning adoption of the city's community development needs assessment. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor, but I believe ECIA is online.
Okay. Who do we have online from ECIA? Anyone? I guess it doesn't.
Test
look
one,
like
two,
it.
three. ECA, are you there?
Both-
One of
both
your
those-
phones muted.
Both those would be local numbers.
Oh, 563.
563s. So I don't know if we have anyone.
Do we need that?
I think we do. They usually have a little
yeah.
spiel on this.
Give their spiel, but
Yeah. All right.
Let me see.
Can we shoot an email to them?
I just did.
Can we come back to this, Pat? We've never had this.
Sure, you can wait and see if they come online and take other items out of order.
Okay.
while Lisa's waiting on a response, or we could postpone it to the next meeting if we want.
Lisa, do you know what the timeline is on this? We probably need to do it now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
You know, and you can also vote without comment, if you're fairly confident you know
Well,
what you're voting.
part of the HUD deal with the lead abatement and all that stuff is they have to actually do, they have like a program or a script that they have to read in order
I
to
see.
make
Right.
it valid for that. So that's usually what
We
they're
don't have
online
that
for.
in writing, though?
Yeah.
What's
I mean,
that?
All they do is summarize what's already here, so.
That was my question, but, you know, we can.
I
wait.
know, but the federal guidelines are pretty strict on what they have to do and what they don't have to do for this. So, why don't we just hold off on this public hearing and we'll just come back to it and make sure we finish it before the end? Is everybody okay with that? All right. So then 6A and 6B, we'll take both of those and we'll move them towards the end of the agenda. There we go, to unfinished business, perfect. Okay, so then we will go to 6C, convene a public hearing concerning the status of funded activities for the CDBG 25 DTR-001 Facade Improvement Projects, Ankeny and State Farm Buildings. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor. This is the same thing. ECIA needs to read a statement for it.
All right, so 6C and 6D will move to the unfinished business as well. All right, 6E we're okay with, right? Yes. All right. 6E will convene a public hearing concerning the proposed denial of request to vacate the alley right-of-way located behind 1247 9th Avenue South. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
We have, Your Honor, and those items have been supplied to the council.
Okay. Is there any citizens that are in the room or online that would like to address this public hearing? Okay. Come on up to the podium first here. So just state your name and your address for the record for us, please.
Gayla Creeley, 1247 9th Avenue South.
Okay.
And I submitted things from email, or text messages and stuff from peoples in the neighborhood that stated no one has used the alley in the last 20 years or so. So to show that no one has used it, and the previous owner who used to own my house. And plus, it floods back there, so, yeah, I would still like to be able to buy that.
Okay. And we can have discussion and come back to you, but I want to let everybody else speak as they're going through it as well. Whoever's next, come on up. Just state your name and your address for the record for us.
My name is Tom Widener. I live at 1239 9th Avenue South, 2 doors to the east of the Creelys. Out behind our properties is the Clinton Community Colleges where their park is and everything. The yard's all sloped down. It goes up a steep bank that we cannot drive up and down. I can't get trailers in and out. The only access I have to my backyard anyway is through this alleyway. If this is cut off, it eliminates all access to my property in the back of the house, which virtually makes my house unsellable.
Okay.
So, this has all started over an ongoing feud between neighbors. That's what this is all about. We have a neighbor across the street that the Creelys do not get along with. He likes to walk his dogs out back there. They want to stop him from being able to do it. That's what this is all about. It has been an ongoing situation. A few weeks back, it turned into a fist fight out in the street in front of my house. So, like I said, I cannot have this alley eliminated. It's the only access I have to get in and out of my backyard. There's not enough room to go between houses, and plus I'd be on somebody else's private property. And if I try going up through the park, that is also private property that belongs to the college. So this is my only access to get in and out.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. Yep.
There is an ongoing feud with his friend across the street, but the guy does not walk his dog back behind there. After we mow the lawn, the easement part there, he drives his lawnmower through there and cuts it another strip down there. And he also drives down the alleyway and throws rocks at our house, or our vehicles and stuff. So it doesn't have nothing to do with Tom. It's, we just want to be able to fence that off. And now we have a fire pit too, and it's got to be 10 foot away from the house. So it kind of has to be almost to the alley. So we can't have it in the backyard because it wouldn't be 10 feet away from the house, and it wouldn't be 10 feet away from the garage, so we have to have it back there further. So we'd like to be able to do that too and not be harassed.
Okay.
And couldn't they take the barricade down from the other end to make access to?
Which
His
does have
yard.
gravel, the side that he's.
Yeah, the other side does have gravel up to the barricade. Couldn't that be taken down if need to? But like I said, I have things from neighbors saying that no one's been back there. I mean, the neighbor right next door, other neighbors right there that can
Sure.
see there, so.
Okay, thank you. Oh, one second. We have someone online who, you would like to address the public hearing and you're online?
Yes, sir.
What's the last four of your phone number? Is it the?
9183.
Okay. Can you please state your name and your address for the record for us, please?
Hope Freely and 1531 Pershing is my address.
Okay.
And
Go ahead, Hope.
Say I am a previous owner. Well, I used to live in that house, and I just wanted to add that there was nobody before my parents lived there. Nobody used that back access when I lived there for the 5-6 years I lived there. I took care of all the yard and whatnot behind there. Nobody ever used the access back behind there ever the whole time I lived there.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where it's coming from that it's being used because it was never used.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sir, if you want to address the public hearing, we need your name and your address, please.
Cody Schultz, 1531 Pershing Boulevard. I'm also a previous resident of that address as well. The ground back there in the summer is far too soft for anybody to be able to drive back there, including with a fifth wheel camper at which he parks a block and a half down. He does not go back there. Mr. Tom does not.
Okay,
There's also no gravel there. It's all grass. It's all crick. There's no way anybody's gonna be able to go in and out there easily without getting stuck or having to get pulled out.
okay, all right. Do you have something to add?
Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
I've lived here in this house for 23 years now. I have used that alley. I do not pull my fifth wheel in there, no. I know better to pull a fifth wheel into grass. My fifth wheel does not park in Block and a half away. It parks in Lowmore all winter, and it parks out in Morrison Rockwood State Park all summer. All right? When I need to get into my backyard to do anything, to work, like when I built my deck and everything else behind the house, yes, I did drive through there, right? I have to be able to get in and out of this in order to work on the back of my house anytime I need to do anything out there. I can't have this taken away, and like I said, it will make my house unsellable if there's no access to my backyard. All right?
Okay.
I'm hoping to sell this house in a couple of years. I don't wanna be stuck with this, right?
Sure.
And if this happens, then I'm gonna have to hire an attorney.
Okay.
And I will have to file a lawsuit against the city of Clinton over this. I'm not going to have my house become unsellable because there's no backyard access at all. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Is there any other citizens that would like to address the public hearing, either in person or online? No? Okay, council, would anybody like to address the public hearing? Or do we want to get out of the public hearing and go to the resolution? Okay?
Mr. Mayor, our council.
Well, we can do that at the resolution time too.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we got all the comments for the public hearing that people wanted to give.
Yep.
Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Shemmers.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution denying the alley vacation request for the alley behind 1247 9th Avenue South. I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We'll now open this for discussion, and Pat, did you have something you wanted to?
The only thing I would offer is that sale of public property is the prerogative of the city council, but when you're so in other words, you can choose yes or no at any time, and no is an acceptable answer if the council so desires. But since this is a vacation, it falls under Chapter 354.23 of the Iowa Code, and you should determine if you're going to vacate that the property is of no benefit to the public. That is the general criteria that we always use when vacating. And if there is a citizen testifying essentially before you that he uses it and needs it, that is problematic. But you could still make a factual finding that you don't believe that to be so, but if it is determined to be so, it would be problematic to vacate if there are other citizens using the right-of-way that we're vacating. So you can either continue this matter for further fact-finding, or you can decide, as you did today, you can decide now what you want to do. I just wanted to make sure that the council had that information before proceeding.
Right. We'll open it up for discussion from council. Is there any discussion?
Right.
Councilmember
And a
Ober.
yes vote would be to deny. Councilmember Shemmers pointed that out, so.
Yeah, and like, the Plan Commission denied it for their reason, that, we usually take their, opinion, because they're the ones that do the deep dive into it, and, their minutes from last meeting was pretty specific, so.
Yeah. Yep, so, Gayla, I hope you understand that, yeah, so it may not appear that it's used, but it still does serve a purpose to some folks, so.
But if it's vacant, is it not illegal to use that area for travel? Or
No, it's still a dedicated alley, so.
So who maintains that?
Hold on 1 second. If you want to talk, you got to come up to the mic so the folks online can hear.
So as he mentioned, it was problematic, so it's vacant and it's not gonna change, right? It's also not developed to support vehicles to drive over at all. It's not even a path, it's creek. There's a creek back there.
Yep.
I understand.
So who is liable to maintain that grass then? Since it's city-owned, who's to cut that grass since it's an alleyway?
Technically, it would be ours, yes,
Okay,
but we
so
don't maintain alleys throughout the city in many places.
So I don't have to cut it no more because it's kind of ridiculous for me to cut it and then this guy across the street comes over and mows one strip across shorter just to be a.
Sure. I think what we're focused on, ma'am, hold on. What we're focused on here more is the legal aspect of whether or not
Right.
vacating this alley is a proper thing for the city. And if it serves a public purpose, then the vacation, like the planning commission or the planning commission recommended that it should be denied to vacate the alley because it does serve a public purpose.
So I can drive down that then?
It is an
You
alley.
technically
Yes.
can, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But
I
there's
have
a burn barrel in the middle of it.
Yep, that belongs to someone, not the city. It probably should be removed.
Correct.
And I have no idea why it's barricaded at one end. We could probably find out, but it's probably shouldn't be.
Correct. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from council? Okay, so just to reiterate, the motion was to deny the alley request, the alley vacation request. So a yes vote is to deny it, a no vote would be to the opposite. Any last chance for discussion? Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Okay, so the alley will not be vacated.
Correct.
That's the vote of the council. Okay, moving on, we'll convene a public hearing concerning the proposal to rezone the 2500 block of Liberty Avenue from C2 General Commercial District to M2 Industrial Heavy District. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Is there any citizens that are in the room or online that would like to address this public hearing? All right, any council members that would like to address the public hearing? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Kearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a ordinance for the first consideration.
Please read the title.
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the city of Clinton, Iowa by rezoning and changing the district classification for 2500 block of Liberty Avenue from C2 General Commercial District to M2 Industrial Heavy District.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the ordinance? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman. Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
We'll convene a public hearing concerning the proposal to rezone 2586 Liberty Avenue from C2 General Commercial District to M2 Industrial Heavy District. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Is there any citizens that are in the room or online that would like to address this public hearing? Any council members that would like to address the public hearing? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Davis,
Thank you, Your Honor. I move the council consider an ordinance for the first time.
please read the title.
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the city of Clinton, Iowa by rezoning and changing the district classification for the 2586 Liberty Avenue from C-2 to General Commercial District to MT Industrial Heavy District.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the ordinance? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
We'll convene a public hearing concerning the proposed amendment number 3 to the Lincoln Way Industrial Rail and Air Park Urban Renewal Plan in the city of Clinton. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor, and just to note, ECIA is on if we want to circle back to theirs when we're done with this one.
Beautiful. We can do that right when we get done with this. Thank you. Any citizens that would like to address the public hearing, online or in the room? Any council members that would like to address the public hearing? All right, hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Shemmers.
Your Honor, I have a resolution determining an area of the city to be an economic development area and that the rehabilitation, conservation, redevelopment, development, or a combination thereof of such area is necessary in the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city, designating such area as appropriate for urban renewal projects and adopting amendment number 3 to the Lincoln Way Industrial Rail and Air Park Urban Renewal Plan. I move this resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? No? Yeah.
You guys remember, this is the area that Project Stack is purchasing to create a transload facility at the rail park. So this will free this up. That we went through the other iterations of Atlas to the north, 36th Avenue south across, as well as Project MG to the west. So this will be the last part here, and then we'll move forward with that purchase agreement, and then we're going to work on what's called a 427B. We haven't said that in a while. That's the step-down ability at the 75, 60, 45, 30, 15 for 5 years for the Project Stack development.
All right. Any other discussion on this?
It's called progress, right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
All right, we are going back to 6A. We'll convene a public hearing concerning the adoption of the city's community development needs assessment. And who do we have online from ECIA now?
Should be Dan on.
This is Dan.
Hi,
Can
Dan.
you hear me? Hi,
We can-
Dan Lobianco with ECIA. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, very good. And I don't have you on visual, wasn't being admitted, but Lisa and Stephen worked hard and got me a new phone and password. So if you need to interrupt me, this first one is a pretty long public hearing as required by IEDA and HUD. So go ahead and interrupt me, and I'll also pause between the three lists for any comments by council or the public. With that said, I will go ahead. We are here to discuss the renewal of our community development and housing needs of LMI persons Meetings were held with LMI advocate organizations. City staff with duties in low-income census tracts were brought in and developed these priorities. Number one, provide city and grant funds for demolition of derelict properties. Two, continue to sell vacant properties to contractors for rehabilitation. Three, continue to fund the city's roof rehab program. Four, continue to promote home ownership opportunities. Five, construct additional elderly housing. Six, expand child care opportunities with the city, daytime and evening programs. Seven, work to create or add employment opportunities within the city. Eight, continue to support programs offered for low-income and elderly residents like CAP agencies. Nine, continue to support new programs designed to meet the needs for transitional housing, homeless shelters, victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, substance abuse, mental health issues, and others. And 10, continue to pursue funding opportunities that will improve existing housing and keep it affordable. Now, then we prioritize each of these needs I just listed. We identified whether the need is high priority, medium priority, or low priority for the community, and we present them in the prioritized order now, highest to lowest, but all are priorities. So this is going to be that same list, but prioritized, one being the highest priority. Sorry, but I do have to repeat it. So number one is expand child care opportunities within the city, daytime and evening programs. Two, continue to promote home ownership opportunities. Three, work to create or add employment opportunities within the city. Four, continue to pursue funding opportunities which will improve existing housing and keep it affordable. Five, continue to sell vacant properties to contractors for rehabilitation. Six, continue to fund the city's roof rehab program. Seven, provide city and grant funds for demolition of derelict properties. Eight, construct additional elderly housing. Nine, continue to support nine, continue to support programs offered for low-income and elderly residents like CAP agencies. And 10, continue to support new programs designed to meet the needs for transitional housing, homeless shelters, victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, substance abuse, mental health issues, and others. And so now I'll pause here for public or council comments or questions. And Mayor, if you could tell me when to move on, I will do so.
Okay. Is there any comments, questions from the council or anybody that's in the room or online at the moment? All right. Hearing none. Dan, you can go ahead and keep going.
Then we discussed other community development and housing needs and determined the following priorities. One, upgrade wastewater, storm, and sewer systems to separate collection systems and improve wastewater treatment, making improvements required to comply with the IDNR consent order. Two, pursue CDBG funding for downtown revitalization and rehabilitation of building facades. Three, extend sewer and water services in underserved areas. I have another three, but this much, so we'll go. I'll just. Four, cooperate with ILS, DOT, and others in highway upgrade projects. Five, implement and fund the city or the street plan. Five, continue to support riverfront development. Six, continue to support downtown development. Seven, address blighted areas in the city. EPA brownfield funding for assessment and cleanup, and CDBG funding for facade improvement. Eight, be proactive with developers and builders in the construction of housing. And nine, or I guess this would be 10, I apologize, continue to work with economic development groups to retain and attract businesses. And then we discussed how the needs were determined and why they are necessary for the community, and we prioritize the items in this basic order, but all are priorities. One, be proactive with developers and builders in the construction of housing. Two, pursue CDBG funding for downtown revitalization and rehabilitation of building facades. 3, extend sewer and water services in underserved areas. 4, address blighted areas in the city, EPA brownfields funding for assessment and cleanup, and CDBG funding for facade improvements. Number 5, continue to support downtown development. 6, continue to support riverfront development. 7, implement and fund the street plan. 8, continue to work with economic development groups to retain and attract businesses. 9, upgrade wastewater storm sewer systems to separate collection systems and improve wastewater treatment, making improvements required to comply with the IDNR consent order. And 10, cooperate with Iowa DOT and others in highway upgrade projects. And so this is my second of 3 pauses for public or council comments.
Any comments from council or folks in the room or online? All right, hearing none. Dan, go ahead.
All right. Finally, we reviewed planned or potential activities to address housing and community needs. We landed on these items. 1, apply for IEDA CDBG funds to make improvements to wastewater, storm sewer collection systems, and improve wastewater system. 2, apply for CDBG downtown revitalization funds to rehabilitate facades of slum and blighted buildings. 3, research use of TIF and other incentives to address housing and other developments. 4, consider application for CDBG and other funding sources to support and expand programs to meet transitional housing, homeless shelters, victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, substance abuse, mental health issues, and others. 5, consider application for CDBG funds to support expansion of childcare and other opportunities in the city. 6, work with the Clinton Housing Authority to develop elderly housing. 7, work with state and local development organizations and private businesses to locate and expand new businesses and industry to create employment opportunities. 8, continue discussions in cooperation with Iowa DOT and others on transportation projects. And 9, implement the newly awarded HUD lead hazard control and healthy homes funding to make existing residential dwellings lead and healthy homes safe for residents. And then we discussed the prioritization of each of the planned and potential activities, and again, graded them from 1 through 9, but they're all priorities. And this is what we came up with. 1, apply for IEDA CDBG funds to make improvements to wastewater, stormwater, sewer collection systems, and improve the wastewater system. 2, apply for CDBG downtown revitalization funds to rehabilitate facades of slum and blighted buildings. 3, research use of TIF and other incentives to address housing and other developments. 4, consider application for CDBG funding to support expansion of childcare and other opportunities in the city. 5, work with the Clinton Housing Authority to develop elderly housing. 6, work with the state and local development organizations and private businesses to locate and expand new businesses and industry to create employment opportunities. 7, continue discussions in cooperation with Iowa DOT and others in transportation projects. 8, consider application for CDBG and other funding sources to support and expand programs to meet transitional housing, homeless shelters, victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, substance abuse, mental health issues, and others. And 9, apply for HUD lead and healthy home funding to make existing residential dwellings and healthy home safe for residents. And I think you know that 9th priority, we are just starting a new funding on that. And before I have comments and questions, just want everyone to know, when you do CDBG and some other funding, you have to review this particular plan, which we do fairly regularly. I went through it in November of 23, but if we're applying as we are at the end of the month for CDBG funding, we need to do it, or update it, and it cannot be more than a year old. So that's what we're here for today. Any comments or questions on that last list or anything else I talked about in this relatively lengthy dissertation?
Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Oberon?
Just a comment, you know, when you put these 29 items on a piece of paper, we are doing a lot as a community,
Sure.
not only our city, but our business partners and our economic growth partners and our everywhere partners. And it's, you put them all on one page, you know, this is pretty impressive.
I would
All right.
agree 100%, and as the city staff is working hard, you as a council are trying to turn over every stone right with and try to be spending appropriately, but you know, trying to do the right thing when you can, and it is an impressive list, and we updated, add some things, and reprioritize, but it's an impressive list. I'm not even sure which council member mentioned that or if it was a citizen, but I agree 100%, and ECIA is here to be your partner, but you at the city do the heavy lifting.
Thanks, Dan. Is there any other comments from the public or from the council? Is that the end of the spiel for this public hearing, Dan?
That's that public hearing. I have a much shorter, or not, I won't call it short, but a much shorter one for the next public hearing.
All right. All right. Last chance. All right. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Oberon.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution adopting the City of Clinton's Community Development and Housing Needs Assessment. Move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
There'll be a written exam before anybody can leave. Just so you know.
What's ranked, downtown or riverfront development first?
All right.
That's what I thought. Downtown was before.
We'll move on. We'll convene a public hearing concerning the status of funded activities for the CDBG 25-DTR-001 Facade Improvements Project, Ankeny and State Farm Buildings. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
All right. Dan, we'll begin with you.
Absolutely. So, as I indicated, or I think in your previous resolution, you had the actual addresses for this, but this is the crucial public hearing in order for us to make that application by the end of the month for the facade improvements, and commonly known as the Ankeny building, and we've added that State Farm building as well, which could use a nice facade improvement. But here goes on the 9 points we need to make in this status of funds public hearing. A is need. The need for assistance for commercial businesses for building facade improvement in Clinton continues, with additional interest after the demonstration of the CDBG CVN facade grant completed last year. The addresses included in this year's application are natural next steps for improvement, suggested in the Slum and Blight report from Simmering Quarry that we adopted even prior to worsening conditions due to COVID-19. This grant is essential to the survival of these commercial businesses to mitigate the ongoing damage to the facades of their buildings, as well as to revitalize the economic viability of Clinton's downtown commercial districts. This next proposed project scope was determined by analyzing remaining blighted buildings, prioritizing the included set of addresses with severe deterioration to stonework, particularly terracotta and windows, as well as the property owner's willingness to co-invest in putting their full buildings back into service. B, how will this be funded? The project will be funded through a CDBG grant awarded in an amount not to exceed $650,000, which is the maximum award available, with the remaining matching funds in an estimated amount of $81,250 from the city of Clinton, and the participating property owners pledging an estimated total of $511,260 in respective costs, and those estimates are a little bit dated, so, but it will be the property owners for that match that will be expected. C, date the CDBG application will be submitted. The Community Development Block Grant CDBG application will be submitted to Iowa Economic Development Authority, IEDA, no later than January 31st, 2025. D, requested amount of the federal funds. The total amount of the CDBG requested funds will not exceed $650,000, which is equal to $610,000 for construction activities and $40,000 for grant administration. E, estimated portion of federal funds that will benefit low and moderate income persons. CDBG funding requires that at least 51% of the project beneficiaries' population served by the improvements are low and moderate income. The project area is completely within Clinton's low-income census tract, and 2/3 of the businesses currently at these addresses are minority-owned. F, where the proposed activities will be conducted. As stated, the downtown revitalization activities proposed will be within our lowest income census tract and specifically along 2nd Street and 5th Avenue, Clinton, Iowa. G, plans to minimize the displacement of persons and businesses resulting from funded activity. As a facade project, there will be no residential nor business displacement due to this grant construction work. 8, it requires plans to assist people actually displaced. So we say, should displacement become unexpectedly necessary, the city will fully comply with the Uniform Relocation Act and Section 104D. And finally, the nature of the proposed activity. The City Council is committed to mitigating slum and blight in our downtown district. The project to be funded through this grant award would include up to 9 facades. These buildings meet HUD's slum and blight national objectives and are in fair or poor condition. The proposed funding will be used to assist in the restoration, repair, and replacement of materials not suitable for continued use or reuse of the structures for viable commercial and residential occupancy. And there you have it. That's my deal.
Thanks, Dan. Is there any comments from the council or any citizens that are in the room or online on this public hearing? Come on up. State your name and your address for the record.
Scott Evansberger, 2509 Cleveland Street. Question I just see on the whereas under the dollar to dollar. I'm assuming that is if the cost is $81,000, I see there that the owner is going to provide $40,000 of that and the city is going to match that. Am I reading that correctly?
Actually, I think in this case, they're going to spend more. So the council's dedicated $81,250 for the Ankeny and $10,000 to State Farm, and I think their match is more than this.
Okay.
For
so
them.
It's like a 50-50.
That is accurate. With our estimates, they'll certainly match much more than that. I think at this time, the estimates are about 8 times as much as the city.
Yeah, I think the Ankeny owners are probably going to do around $511,000 themselves for that, and then we're dividing up what is needed for the State Farm building, what's the Ankeny. These two projects, if you guys remember, actually came through the Schmid first to us, which we prefer, and I see Megan in the crowd. And then you guys, this is FY $25 that you obligated for this, and they got passed over, so we decided to bundle because it's State Farm. You know.
Yep. Got it. Nice.
Did that last week.
I know, I'd use it.
Cindy Nagel, 850 14th Avenue South. My only question is, so the Ankeny building is on the National Register of Historic. So is this going to, the facade that's going to be put on here, the new facade, is that going to be of like? Because since it's on the National Register, it
The
needs
plan
to
is
be-
to make it look better than 1950, because I don't know if you've seen the pictures of 1950, it
Well,
looks the same as it does now. So
However it originally
yeah.
looked is how it needs to look
That's
per
what they're going
National
for.
Register.
If money provided, we'll do that. That's the goal. There's
Okay.
no changes to what's going on with that texture on the outside, except for updating and cleaning it and making it look a little more presentable.
Okay, because I don't want them to lose their
Nope,
status.
not at all.
As a National
Yeah.
Register.
And it's different, as you know, it's different on the front side on Fifth Avenue South than it
Right.
is on the 2nd Street with, yeah.
Right. And then, so the whole thing's gonna match
Yeah,
once the
that's,
facade
well,
is
the
up.
plan is to basically have everything that is in the white, like, what, terracotta, correct? No. Help me, Dan.
Yes, terracotta.
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 Everything that is that will be returned to as best shape as possible as terracotta. And then whatever's on that second street will probably be adjusted accordingly.
To match the front?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Dan, did you have
So
another
one other-
comment on that question?
Yeah, just one other comment on that. So the windows, so those very decorative second floor windows, and I don't know if there's an exact plan for second floor, but they're not even operable. Those are kind of crank out windows that you obviously do not have replacement parts, but the owners have committed to replace those in the same, I think not only similar material, but the same materials, and that is not an inexpensive, and it's exactly why we need this grant, right? To help us, get about 50% of those costs, because that's not easy. But they will be replacing those windows and those systems just as they are, and that's not easy to do with current products available.
Yeah, this is Cindy Nagel again. Yeah, so you can use like materials that are approved and that have been approved, even though you
Correct.
can't,
And they-
you know,
and-
so you can't get the exact as much as we would love that, but you can, there are approved materials that are like, so I'm glad to see that.
And architect Paul Newman, with Willett Hoffman, right? That they've been researching that. Obviously, we'll have to put and we're counting on. We think this is a strong grant. Should we get the funding, and when we get the funding, Paul will put a bid package together, and we will determine exactly what we can do. But it has to, because this is federal funding. We have to go through Section 106 review and environmental review, which includes a State Historic Preservation Office approval.
All right. Any other discussion for the public hearing? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Mussman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving community development block grant CDBG for downtown revitalization DTR, parentheses, facades project, special applications, and pledging local support. I move that it be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Dedeman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Obrin.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Thank you for your time, Dan. We appreciate it.
No, thank you for your patience.
All right, so we are moving to the audience comment section. I have not received any yellow cards. Is there any citizens that are here that would like to address the council on an item that's not on the agenda?
There is a citizen, talked to Lisa, that she said that she'd take care of letting you know that there's somebody waiting for an audience comment.
Yep. Al, we have your item on the agenda. It's the last item, so.
This is under the audience comment portion. I have a different part for later.
Okay, so just go, then this is the time for the item that's not on the agenda. So just state your name and your address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
I understood there was 3 minutes on this audience participation part, and the other comments are open-ended, it looked like.
Correct.
Now, as far as the purpose of this comment period, it says the purpose of the audience comment is for opportunity for citizens to address the council on any issue of the citizen's concern.
Correct.
It doesn't say not including items that are on the agenda.
We generally reserve the audience comment section for things that aren't on the agenda because there is open discussion on an item that is already on the agenda. The council's not at liberty to discuss items that aren't on the agenda and posted to the citizens. So that's why this section is there, and that's why the time is limited. And the way our meetings are run that's how we follow that. So you have an item that's not on the agenda that you want to address. You can address something that's on the agenda as well right now, but you're still limited to that 3 minutes at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. It's debatable how much of this is on the agenda and what isn't, so it's best, it's short, so I'll just go through it if it's okay with you.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. While the gate on the former cul-de-sac has been a contentious issue the last year of its utilization, it didn't have to be. The issue was settled not once, but twice in 2 consecutive development agreements. I understand the council is tired of revisiting this issue, as are those whose interests were provided for in these development agreements. And yet, somewhere there is a driving party with unstated objectives short of removing the gate. Clinton stands to benefit from anticipated increased employment in the near future, but we are not here and drilling anyone for failure to provide the promised housing that may be needed. Even with these expected employment increases, we doubt the appetite for most people to wait for a la carte housing. If you build it, they will come. What are the real issues here, and what are we doing to try to address them short of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks? If you believe there are issues, let's have a public hearing and air out the problems and offer pragmatic solutions to address them. Is snow removal a problem? Open the gate during snow emergencies. Mud getting on the road? Close off areas through which some people are abusing their driving privileges. Matt has assured us that he would be sure emergency service providers would have access to keys. I would be agreeable to almost any solution that deters the utilization of 9th Avenue North as a shortcut through town. I'm willing to put up $1,000 towards the purchase of a gate that can be opened from a push-button switch on a post on either side of the gate. That's all the delay it would take to keep people from using 9th as a shortcut. Removing the gate is not the solution to every problem. Crushing the interests of those whom you have earnestly promised specific remedies by creating a resolution that will only kick the can down the road may be politically expedient, but it isn't good governance. That's all I have for the audience comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Did you get the name and the address for the record? Got it? Al Thompson.
823 Springdale Drive, Clinton, Iowa.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to address the council at the moment? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented on the attachment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda?
On 8U, which is very lengthy, but I own one of the houses along here. Does that matter? Hey, it doesn't look like anything happens to it, but I don't know.
I guess the question would be for Pat is, because we're going to be working easements as part of the manufacturing in Bluff, in this case Bluff. And if you, did you, on that slide, was there any black marks for?
No, it doesn't look like anything's
requiring?
happening, but I do own a house along there, so just wanted to disclose that. I didn't see any modifications on the preliminary
You can be
stuff,
as
but-
careful as you want, and it could be pulled, and you could not vote on it and abstain, but
Yeah.
Would you like
I'm
me to
not
pull it?
seeing this as a huge, you're certainly not.
I don't, it's up to you guys. I just wanted to make sure I stated it. I want to support this project, so, I'm fine either way.
It is a project of general benefit to the entire community. You happen to live nearby. I don't necessarily think that's a conflict of any concern.
Okay, very well.
All right. Any other discussion on the consent agenda? All right. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Fetterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Councilmember Kearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move the claims be received, approved, and placed on file for revised claims list of 12/10/24, and then claims list 1 and 2 of 1/14/25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion on this. What was the revision from the 1210? I looked through it. I must have missed it.
Is that something to do with the
It
fire
was for
department?
the vehicle thing, yeah.
Oh, the vehicle
Yeah,
thing.
the fire
Okay, all
department
right,
thing, yeah.
perfect. I don't know, I couldn't find it. When I was looking through there, I didn't know what it was, so. Ah, that's probably why.
It goes right to the bottom.
This is the bottom line number, that's what I'm looking for. No, okay, perfect. All right. Any other discussion on the claims? All right, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers. Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Councilmember Detterman.
Thank you, Your Honor. A resolution establishing a public hearing for the location of the north-south alley adjacent to 3129 Garfield Street and the north-south alley adjacent to the south 30 feet of Lot 13 and all of Lot 14 in Block 8, Range 3, Buell's addition to Lyons. Move that it be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Councilmember Mussman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution adopting updated City of Clinton safety manual. Move that it be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
I did have a question. I gotta find it here again. On the appeals process, and I don't know if Eli should speak to this or if this is something outside of that. I think I saw Eli back there. Did we discuss whether the appeals process should just remain in-house? Or, because I think it rolls up to Matt, which is fine, but then it would be, I'm assuming if somebody had a grievance, that it would be for them to go to an attorney, which would automatically put us at an attorney. So would it behoove us to take that appeals process to a oversight group that would maybe have a non-hierarchy interest in trying to appease it? Or because it's union, is that just ridiculous? I don't really know.
Well, for Rhonda, under Chapter 20 for grievances, that's going to fall under state code, so we've got to follow that grievance process.
That's fine.
The way we kind of rewrote this is to make it clear that in non-union cases, we got to have some sort of final arbiter before it goes to a district court
Sure.
appeal. And we just had Matt be the backstop if it got that high. And that seems
And
reasonable to
if
me.
everybody else is fine with it, I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Any other discussion on this?
Good job, Eli.
Great job.
I heard too easy.
All right. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution authorizing limited waiver of provision in the amended and restated agreement for private development by and between the City of Clinton and Riverstone Development LLC. I move this be adopted as read.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We're going to open this for discussion. I know we have a lot of folks that probably want to speak on this, so what I'd like to do is one at a time we'll go through, and anybody that wants to speak will get their opportunity to speak before we kind of come back to anybody if they have other comments. That fair? Just to make sure everybody gets their opportunity there. And we will open it up to the, first off, does council have any comments that they want to make before we open it up for citizen discussion?
I want to hear what they have to say first.
Sounds good? Okay. Okay. Any citizens that would like to address the council? Okay, and each person just state your name and your address for the record when you come up here. Even if you've already come up, we'll do it again just so that we have it on there. Please.
My name is Caroline Evansberger, and my daughter owns a home on 9th Avenue North and is currently on job assignment for work, so I'm here to represent her. I'm not sure why we're having the same conversation. We just had this 6 months ago. I'm asking that the gate remain. I object on behalf of my daughter, the property owner. The proposed waiver of the Riverstone Agreement 3.8, which would allow the gate to be open for a 3-month trial period. Remember, your word is your bond. Let's stay with that. That's what was discussed the last time. Nothing's changed since. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Name's Scott Evansberger. I live at 2509 Cleveland Street. Mayor Maddasion, Administrator Brooke, council members, thank you for allowing me time for discussion on the proposal for us tonight. Limited waiver of Section 3.8 of Resolution 2024-360, Riverstone Development. It is my understanding that this proposal was warranted due to an email sent to the council by Mr. Bill Wilford on November 25th, 2024. In his letter, he claims many cars have been driving around the gate. I spend a lot of time at my daughter's home at 1011 9th Avenue North, and I too have observed a few cars circumventing the gate. Some of these cars are currently working, building homes over in that neighborhood. If Mr. Wilford finds this to be a problem, he should contact the police department, as driving across private property is a ticketable offense. Mr. Wilford is correct when he states a garbage truck has been driving around the gate. That truck was the first to drive around it and continued in wet weather, causing a large rut and dragging mud onto the street. For Section 3.8, City Fire Services was the only named unit to receive a key to the gate. All others, such as mail, snow, garbage, and delivery services, were to enter from either Springdale or 9th Avenue or 11th Avenue North. This again is a trespass issue. If you check the city website, you will find a page called The Clintonian's Guide to Government. I have a copy of that here in my hand right now. On it, you'll find a list starting with the mayor, going down to the city administrator, and down to city departments. Underneath of that, it says the city administrator ensures council decisions are being carried out. With that said, the administrator ensures council decisions are being carried out. Since the council voted to keep Section 3.8 in the 2024 resolution, the responsibility of making sure fire services has a key and that they are indeed opening the gate when needed falls onto our city administrator. Perhaps Mr. Wilford and the city administrator can advise the garbage service of this issue of circumventing the gate. I am of the opinion that every issue Mr. Wilford has claimed in his email was addressed as far back as 2020. On October 9th, 2020, Mr. Wilford signed Resolution 2020-581 and agreed to the terms of Section 3.8. After failing to reach defined benchmarks in the 2020 resolution, an amended and restated Resolution 2024-360, which included Section 3.8, was approved by council on a 6-1 vote. The council heard 49 minutes and 12 seconds of debate on keeping that section. Mr. Wilford sent no email to council or letter to the editor, nor did he bother to come to the meeting. He simply hoped the council would do his bidding. Mr. Wilford signed Resolution 2024-360 on July 3rd, 2024. Less than 6 months later, and again he is trying to negate his responsibilities. Getting dry. As for today's proposal before us, attempting a 90-day waiver to do an impact survey, the council has failed to provide any guidelines to be used. A competence survey requires a baseline to begin with. That baseline should be the current number of vehicles entering from North 11th Street, as well as the current number of vehicles entering from Springdale. This should happen before any discussion on opening a gate should happen. It also should include defined goals of the study. It should have an assigned person or group, excluding the council, administrator, and mayor, to collect and review the data. It should contain defined benchmarks as to what constitutes leaving the gate open or required it to be closing. At this time, none of this is done to my knowledge. The saying is a survey is only as good as the correct data collected. You as council members are expected to uphold resolutions you vote on. We should not have to continually trek down to the city hall to debate issues every 6 months. At this time, I ask the council to vote no on a resolution before us today, limited waiver of Section 3.8 Riverstone Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Anyone next?
Eric Clausen, 1039 9th Avenue North. Okay, this, we keep revisiting this, it, and the developer, if he was half the developer that he claims to be, he'd have his 30 houses on there, and and then the gate would come down. But he hasn't done that. He hasn't built the houses that he thought he would, and now he's blaming somebody else that he can't. He says that gate's there, hence the city is impeding him from building houses, and that's just not true. Don't believe it. So, and the city made an agreement with the people on at 9th Avenue North, and they need to keep it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clausen.
I'm Bill Wilford, Riverstone Crossing, and half of what you said, half of what you've heard is true, and half of it's not. I'm not blaming anybody for whatever we're not building up there as much as we would have liked at this point. That's got nothing to do with why this has come back up. Partly on my part, it's come back up because it came to my attention from Larry Musil, who's building a house on our second lot in the subdivision, that the gate lock had been cut. That brought our attention to it. We didn't know what had happened there. The lock was hanging there, but it was cut. Then it brought to our attention that when we had our guys framing our model unit, that cars were coming from the west end of 9th Avenue North, going around the gate, continuing on down the road, including the garbage trucks, that were putting mud all over our roads. That's when the discussion started up again about, well, this street was designed as a through street before I ever got involved. When this was originally platted as Springdale Crossing, it was a through street. I didn't change anything to do with that. I did agree in the very beginning that we've got 30 houses on this, that we would leave the original gate up while the construction was going on until we got the 30 houses, which by law, we have to have a second exit. What I didn't take into account was the fact that when the city came in and decided to straighten out the end of the west end of 9th Avenue North, that my original farm gate was going to get torn out. I didn't tear it out. I thought that negated that original agreement. We would just move on. We'd have a through street like it was originally intended. I didn't cause a fuss or make any problem with the city when they approached me to get another gate put back up. I also didn't make a fuss when the gate was put back up to block off 2 of my lots, which allowed space for somebody to drive around on the property. That's when this all came up again. I was not able to be at the original meeting. I wasn't skipping it because I didn't think it was important. I was setting trusses on a house that was an hour and a half from here in the last meeting about this. That's why this has all come back around. It's got nothing to do with who I'm blaming or not blaming for how many houses we've got up there. This particular thing has nothing to do with it. When I see things that don't make sense, I'm gonna question it. And if it doesn't make sense to me in 6 months, I'm gonna question it again. This was designed as a through street. It's always been a through street. I don't know why, in this case, it's creating any more issue than any other through street in the city. All of it, and it doesn't even necessarily apply to the people that I've got living there. The people that I've got living there aren't going to go out west on 9th Avenue North. I'm not anticipating a big influx of people coming down into our subdivision from where we're opening up this gate. But it does have something to do with garbage pickup, snow removal, mail delivery, package delivery, every other thing that services our houses, whether on that end of the street or my end of the street, it impacts it all. And to think about coming down and having to open up a gate or open up a lock just makes no sense to me. I've seen nothing in that area that is making it be that this is somehow a dangerous area for everybody on that street for the amount of traffic we're gonna get. I don't know where all this is coming from or where people are seeing this. So, but that's kind of a story of how this all ended up and why this has come back up.
Thank you, Bill. Anybody else that's in the room that would like to address this? Okay, Mr. Thompson, are you still online? Did you say that you had more to add to this conversation?
Yeah, I'm here. I would just like to put this last part as part of the meeting and then let my case rest. The original October 27th, 2020 development agreement provided a compromise between those wanting unfettered egress and access to the new development and those whose only interest was to continue living their peaceful lives for their families in their quiet neighborhood. The city was anxious to reach an agreement as opposition to the entire enterprise was growing. All sides agreed to the compromise and the issue was settled, or so we thought. When contractual performance requirements of the original development agreement were not met, the city entered into a new agreement, 7/3/24, in which the city reiterated their position that their word was their bond and assured Article 3, Section 3.8 included the provisions requiring the maintenance of the 9th Avenue North Gate. The initial development agreement making this development possible in the place lasted almost 4 years. The subsequent development agreement has been in place just over 6 months. Imagine my surprise and disappointment to discover that despite repeated phone conversations with various council persons denying knowledge as to whether the council meeting at 1/14/25 would be conducted as a public hearing or simply a regular council meeting, I found that the council's appetite for serious considering the wishes of its constituents is once again in question. How can you seriously expect your constituents to trust you as honest brokers if you have already created a resolution considered at the last moment within the regular scheduled meeting as not being a disingenuous attempt to skirt your moral obligations to your constituents? Up until this point, I was feeling like I was open to legitimate concerns and wanted to help see if there were pragmatic solutions for some kind of consensus that we could all live with. There are no criteria specified in the resolution from which evaluation should be made other than consultations with city departments. What about consultations with the people whose interests you would herein be circumventing? You would think the people whose consent was key to the creation of this development would have some say rather than unilaterally telling them this is how it's going to be. Your local government in action? I would certainly hope not. Questions that I believe must be considered include, does the city have a moral obligation to its existing citizens? Are there any material issues that haven't been in existence since the very first development agreement that are serious enough to overwhelm the city's moral obligation to live up to their agreements? And if so, what alternative solutions have been discussed to address these changes, short of seriously damaging the credibility of the council as an honor to even-handedly consider issues between conflicting parties? I'm not convinced that a majority of the council is not motivated by an honest desire to do the right thing. The resolution that will be considered tonight is not it. A serious attempt to reach consensus on what could be done to placate all parties would be the conduction of a public hearing in which all legitimate concerns and solutions could be addressed. And I just would like to ask if there's anyone in the arena there that has anything to say about whether the 9th Avenue North was always considered to be a through street.
Okay. Go ahead. Sure.
We sent this aerial map drawn in 2020. It's the same time Mr. Wilford bought that property. As you can clearly see, the only plotted street is 10th Avenue, not 9th Avenue, 10th Avenue. So whether you've ever seen this map, never seen it. I would like to see that map because I've never seen it and I can't find it anywhere. So I also have the statement that says the subdivision, all streets and alleys shown have been previously dedicated to public. So what is there is 10th Avenue, not 9th Avenue. 9th Avenue is there now. I'm not going to say it's not, but it was never planned as a through street like many want to believe.
So,
The Quality Home subdivision in its original agreement says that the cul-de-sac could be extended to the east, but access would always be from North Ninth Avenue, or 11th Avenue North, not from Springdale.
are you referring to the July 10th, 1963?
I think it's 64, but yeah, it could be.
I got it right here. July 10th, 1963, Planning Commission, City Council says the street which we indicate as 9th Avenue North may also in the future serve the area to the east, making this area accessible from North 11th Street. It doesn't say that would only be accessible from that area, but it says it would make the east accessible from North 11th Street.
East side of that subdivision, or that cul-de-sac would be in the same place. It's a matter of adding 10 more houses down the road, not going down to Springdale.
Which is essentially what they're doing,
No, they're
technically.
Springdale. They're
Well,
making it a 3 Street. It was never planned to be a 3 Street.
it doesn't say whether it was or not. It says access east from North 11th Street. Correct.
They're gonna go east from North 11th to get down that cul-de-sac. They're not coming west from Springdale,
So if you added 20 more houses on,
directly towards the cemetery, not going down the hill.
and not, but if you don't connect to Springdale, then it's okay?
That's what the statement is. I'm not saying what is okay.
I mean, I think that's up for interpretation on what that actually says, but, yeah. Okay, council discussion?
Yeah, I mean, here we are again. It's like, I mean. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm Jolie Witt. I live at 731 North 10th Street. My property borders Riverstone subdivision. 6 months ago, I attended a meeting here, showed all of you pictures of my backyard. In December of 2020, the subdivision was just being started. And for 2 days, Mr. Wolford's crew moved dirt, piled it 15 feet high, and it lines the whole length of my backyard. He did the same with to 3 other properties on 8th Avenue North. I spoke to Scott Maddasion this time and relayed my concerns. I then called Mr. Wolford and expressed how upset I was about this wall of dirt, and that it's nothing but an eyesore. He promised me at this time, as soon as this infrastructure was completed, that they would be removing this dirt. Well, now it's 4 years later. I have nothing to look at. I have to look at this mess every single day, which has now turned into nothing but a wall of weeds and scrub trees. I thought when I spoke to you all last summer, I would get some help with this, and that, sorry, I'm dry too, and that something was going to be done, but that did not happen. I'm asking that you listen not only to what Mr. Wolfer wants, but to the residents of Clinton who have lived here for decades and that have faithfully paid their real estate taxes. I ask you give me and my property the same consideration as you give the subdivision owner and to get this wall of dirt removed. Thank you so much.
thank you. Okay, anybody else, citizens that would like to address the council?
All the other folks, nobody's here about this issue? Okay. Nobody else?
Thanks. Council, any
right.
discussion?
Well, I want their opinion if that's what they're here for.
Okay. Come on up. Come on up to the podium if you.
Yeah.
Larry Musso. I just want to identify myself as a home builder on 9th Avenue North.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Very well.
All right. Discussion from council.
I think Pat was starting.
Pat, go ahead, sir.
My first question is so the development agreement that we passed in July, how long does that last? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? How long does? So it's a 3-year
2027.
agreement, a 3-year agreement. So we renewed you for 3 more years then, okay? And I have no problem looking at this situation, because I've had many discussions with Scott about it, and Bill, I'll have a discussion with you about it. My biggest concern is this. We've always talked about, I know Rhonda has, don't need a lock, we just need to put a clip on it. The people that want to use it, get out of the car and open it up and put the clip back on and close it. Larry could do it, anybody could do it, Bill, you could do it, anybody could use it. It's not that big a deal. The sanitation truck could come by, open it up, drive through, turn around, come back out again the other way, instead of driving around. Here we keep driving around the thing. It's been open for a month. The lock's been broke for a month. So I don't know why our recycle truck continues to drive around it when all he has to do is get out, move the lock over, take it off, open the gate, and put it back on. But going forward, I would say, when this came up last council meeting about this 3-month trial and stuff like that, I agree totally with Scott on this, that it's fine. I like the idea of trying it for 3 months, but we got to have a basis of what traffic, we got to get a traffic count of some sort. But in the meanwhile, after what just happened to Lacine on 13th Avenue, I would say to Bill, before we open up this road and make it a road, we're going to have sidewalks on both sides of the roads. Sidewalks like a normal city street has, sidewalks. Because if anybody knew about Lacine that worked down at Jewel, she got drugged 75 feet.
Still does. She still works at Jewel.
Yeah, still works there. And went back the next day. The only thing that saved her was her heavy winter coats that she had on. But anyway, but that's getting addressed. I think we got the bike path coming in this year on 13th Avenue North, so we'll have a sidewalk there. But that's my 2 cents on it. It's like, I have no problem with trying the gate for 3 months. I have no problem with that. I don't think the residents up there have a problem with it either. I think they'd be kind of curious to see what the traffic flow is. But I think we have to have some criteria before we do it. I mean, I think I would like to have a count on what's coming in from Springdale, what's coming in off 11th through that whole road, you know. But I don't want to handcuff Bill from making development either. But at the same time, then I agree with Mrs. Witt there that I've seen it where my mother-in-law lives at. Our developers got to do a better job of cleaning up around their area. Because now you're looking at a pile of weeds. Where my mother-in-law lives at, I look at the pile of trees. That people on the other side over there have to look back up the hillside and see a pile of trim. So that's another story. But I think our developers have to do a better job of cleaning up their job sites. Well, that's my 2 cents.
Shall I?
Councilmember Kearns.
I've talked to Scott and Alan, and I've stood behind the gate 100% from the beginning. But I think enough people have reached out to me that live on 9th, on their side of the gate, that no longer want it. They don't want that gate anymore. They've contacted, you know, everybody doesn't want to fight in the neighborhood. They don't all want their name out there. They still want you guys to all be cohesive. And I understand that, and I get it. I'm not going to give any names out that haven't made themselves public. No, I know you didn't ask for that. Well, or reach out, and they have.
Well, but how many people here actually live on the street? No, Eric, you don't live there.
You live on 10th. You said 10th.
Who actually lives on 9th Avenue North? That's here. Okay.
I own the house.
No, I'm just I was making a point.
Did you have more?
Your Honor, I'd like to call a point of order. I'd like to hear what Councilmember Kearns has to finish saying here.
Councilmember Kearns, go ahead.
Well, I guess I just want to finish saying, I mean, I'm sitting here and I still don't know how I want to vote, but I think the gate has lived its life. I think we made a mistake when we didn't put a end date on it. I think we never should have agreed to a gate. I think we should have, you know, like a discussion I had today, maybe not finish the road. I don't know, with the way they're driving around, maybe they would have still drove through. I don't have any idea, but I think the gate has outlived its welcome with the people that live up there. Not all of them, clearly, but many of them.
Okay. More discussion from council? Councilmember Seeley, I know you have something.
I didn't make the original agreement. I keep saying that, I know. I think we have to remember, we're not here removing the gate right now. We're going to open it, and we're going to see what happens. And I've been thinking about the specific criteria, and I don't think there is any, because there's really no specific reason the gate's there. So for the gate to be open or closed, it's really the fear in our head of the change of what could happen, that we honestly have no clue what will happen if the gate's opened, because nothing may change at all.
Feel better if a child
You know, Eric, I thought about that comment. I think it's a great scare tactic. I think a child could get ran over anywhere. And that would be very unfortunate. No, nobody wants that to happen. So I don't know why we're making comments like that.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I might know where it started, and it would be from the beginning, when no one on that street was contacted that
Yep.
that street was gonna go through. Not one letter went to a resident.
Yep, I
It
agree.
was like, oh gosh, guess what we just got through? You're gonna have this golden roadway into this new subdivision, and my mom started seeing big, huge, everything
Yep.
hauled out of there.
Right.
Down her street, it was awful. So that's why I think the compromise came in.
Yep.
But even so, under the table to start with, got all of this.
And I agree.
think
A bad
that's how,
beginning.
that's
It
where
is a-
I'm at. I've
Yep.
lived it with my
Yep.
mom. And I feel like if we would have gotten some type of a notification, and I think Al actually was the one who came up and said, did you know?
Yep.
And we're all like, well, are they gonna tell us, or are they just gonna open the street and say, oh, guess what, we're having a street? So that's exactly where it started. And
And-
that's, I think,
Yeah,
why
so
we
it's-
feel like the compromise was a good compromise. And so let it get built up, let it have its little community, and once there's plenty of people in there, open the gate.
Yep.
I'm still standing by the gate, so.
Yeah, I think,
That's where it started.
you initially, it kind of started off on the wrong foot. I agree. And that was one of the reasons we requested letters be sent out this time, not just have it on the agenda, right? Because none of us up here, well, to my knowledge, have any intentions of sneaking anything past anybody. And I don't. I requested the letter be sent, and we sent a letter to the residents on 9th Avenue North. Now, Al Thompson didn't get a letter, but I didn't even think about that because he is off on Springdale. Yeah. So, but anyhow, I completely understand the emotion behind this, but I really think it's I think it's an appropriate move to open this and see what happens. I don't think we can quantify that X number of cars constitutes an issue. I think what we have to do is we have to have any folks that want to come back and talk after it's open for 3 months. We'll have a public hearing, we'll talk about it, we can go over issues. I guarantee if an issue arises, we'll be the first to hear about it. I know very well that's going to happen. You know, this happened today, and that's fine, as long as we know about that. And then we can determine maybe what we thought was gonna happen didn't happen, and it's okay. Or maybe we do have something we need to address. But until we open it, we really have no idea what may or may not happen. So, that's where I'm at. I wanna open it, I wanna see where we get.
All right. Any more comments from council?
Yeah, Bill, could you come up for a second? Because I do sympathize with what she stated, so I'm curious when you can get that addressed for her.
All of the pile of dirt back there, and when we talk, is all black dirt.
Yep.
That when we cut down the top of the hill, we weren't removing black dirt for the sake of removing black dirt, but we had to cut the hill down to get the grade of the street where it met the criteria for a street.
Yep.
So that's the excess dirt we have, and my intention was we build in the houses that we're gonna bring that black dirt and put it back in the house sites.
Yep.
Obviously, we haven't got that many houses up in there yet, but that's still what we're going to do to it.
Well,
It's
what can
all
we
black
do
dirt.
to alleviate, because I agree that,
Other people on 8th Avenue.
well, I've actually seen it, and it is
It is.
unsightly. So
It
what
is.
can we do?
I'll address it.
So
I'll
can we?
I'll figure out how to address it.
Can
At
we-
least the next time you have the equipment up there.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it's not gonna happen while the ground's
I'm
frozen,
not going to
but,
be able to move it because I'll just be moving it to another site to bring it
well,
back
I'm
and
almost
move it
wondering if you could
again.
just raise it off or spread it out
But, yeah.
on some lots that you're not gonna be developing till the end type situation. I'm, in the sake of compromise, I think that should be one of the things while we're trialing this period, we mentioned that in the agreement, since it was already brought up once, and we're 6 months later. I think we should put that in here, that you're going to address that.
Yep.
And get it.
That's
Is
fine.
that okay? All right.
That's fine.
I think, yep, okay.
I also wanted to throw out too, I mean, she's correct about how the gate started. That's where it started, is
Yep.
when we originally to separate We didn't want, other than the logging trucks that we had to come in that way, but we did half-loaded trucks, and we went through all of that, trying to make it as safe as possible coming in that way with our logging trucks.
Yep.
But all of my construction companies are all been directed to come in from Springdale.
Perfect.
So we're
And
not
that'll
gonna
continue.
change that. If this
Okay.
gate opens up, I'm not going to, I can't say that there won't be a random guy come down that street without thinking. But my direction to all of my people is to enter from Springdale.
Okay,
That won't change.
okay, that's good.
Councilmember Shimmers? You have the look like you want to say something.
I do.
Okay.
I would have to concur with Councilmember Kearns. I have been contacted by some in places that I would not want to be contacted in, like grocery stores and even funerals, to open the gate. And that's unfortunate. I totally concur with everybody's statement on both sides of this fence, if you will. But I have to speak on a history that I'm aware of, and I do fear for public safety vehicles getting in and out of there in a hurry. I understand, yeah, they can jump out and open the gate, blah, 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 I get it. But as a retired police officer, that would be the last thing I want to jump out to do, is open a gate when I'm trying to get somebody. And so from a public safety standpoint, I have concerns that it's closed. I have no problem with a 90-day trial. I think it's a great idea. And what good or what bad could happen, we'll find out maybe. I don't know. It depends on how we vote here today. But, you know, I live on a private drive, and people still drive up and down my road that don't live there. And, you know, I was kind of making a joke a little earlier, and it's not a joke, but it's a reality. Growing up in the, I'm not going to say when I grew up, but it was a meme I read the other day, and it said, you led a good life when you're playing on the street and one of the kids yells out car, so you all run off the street and pick up the ball that you're playing with. And I did that numerous times every single day growing up. And my biggest injury was falling down on the street and getting scuffed up. But not to say that bad things can happen, they do. But I do concur with the 90-day trial, so.
Okay. Any other discussion from council?
I would like to add section 3, and it can be very simple, that Mr. Wilford's going to address the pile of dirt issue and get that alleviated, so it's not a negative factor for the neighbors there.
That be a motion for an amendment to this
That's
resolution?
my motion, and I'm not gonna set a deadline on it, we can have it in there, and because weather's gonna play a role, so.
I'll second that amendment.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to amend the resolution and add that section in there, section 3 about the dirt. Is there any discussion on that? Can we have roll call on that amendment?
Councilmember Shimmers.
Yes.
Tederman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Okay, so motion passes to add that amendment to there. So just the original resolution, any other discussion from council? Is there any other discussion from the citizens, either in the room or online?
Can you still
Yep,
hear me?
please.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead, Al.
The only other thing I'd like to bring into the discussion is that I'm wondering what the point is of sending out these notices to people, some people, that get these notices, will take the time and effort to come and speak with you and express their concerns, and yet there's people who are not at the meeting, who are not taking part, that we don't know how many people there are. There's 16 houses there on 9th Avenue North, and of those houses, I'm wondering how many people, you know, have actually stated that they don't want the gate. It shouldn't be, and I don't agree. I agree that it shouldn't be a popularity contest, but you had people come in here and taking time from their lives to try to let you know how they feel, and we've done that. And if coming to the meetings and talking to you and showing you in black and white what was agreed to, and that's not good enough for you, then there's nothing more I can say about it. You'll have to live by whatever the vote is. And I thank you for giving me the courtesy of the chance to address it. And just as a final conclusion, I'd like to say that I think that Bill Wilford is a fine gentleman. I think he has good intentions. Things didn't go exactly right, but, you know, the quality of life, I think, is going to change for the people that are on 9th Avenue North if the resolution is agreed to. And that's one way for people to learn. But once this gate is open, I'm pretty sure that that's the end of the issue. But thank you for your time and courtesy of letting me speak.
Thanks, Mr. Thompson.
Thanks,
Scott,
Al.
go ahead.
Scott Evansburg, 2509 Cleveland Street. When you were speaking, Cody, you had mentioned that at the end of the trial period, you would have a
Yes, we will have
data
another
sheet,
meeting.
a
Yes.
data sheet saying, okay, this is what we saw, this is what we didn't see, this is what we heard from.
Well, I was just expecting residents to come back and, well, we'll hopefully have some
Well,
information.
that doesn't
and-
work. When residents come back, they
Well,
may
we don't
not
have
know.
any residents here. We have friends of residents
We
and
have people
family
in Clinton,
members.
Iowa that sat through this meeting
Yeah.
from 2020 on for years to make sure their council did what they
here's
were
what needs
supposed
to
do.
happen. We'll have this open, and I guarantee something bad happens or an issue starts arising. We're going to hear from you prior to the next meeting.
Right. At the end of that
Yeah.
30-day period,
Yep.
will there be an open meeting, a
Oh,
public
yeah.
meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, and the reason for that, Scott, is this is just temporary, so the gate actually has to go closed after this ends, unless we take additional action. So there has to be another resolution. Yep, yep.
So at 90 days, the gate does, it's shut again.
We'll have another meeting.
Yeah.
But yes. All right. Any other discussion from council on this? All right. Can we have roll call on the resolution as amended, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Detterman.
No.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes to do the 90-day trial period on, with the gate open. Okay, moving on, we have no unfinished business. Councilmember Oberon.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move we adjourn to 5 PM, January 28th, 2025.
We are adjourned.